Welcome to Designed for the Creative Mind, a podcast for interior designers and creative entrepreneurs to run their business with purpose, efficiency, and passion. Because while every design is different, the process should remain the same. Prepare yourself for some good conversations with amazing guests, a dash of Jesus, and a touch of the woo-woo, and probably a swear word or two. If you're ready to stop trading your time for money and enjoy your interior design business, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Michelle Lynn. Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Michelle Lynn. Today we're talking about why design skill is only half of the equation and what makes up the rest. Because talent opens doors, but business is what keeps them open. So if you went to design school, that's a truth nobody told you in design school, because for most designers who went to design school, it teaches color theory, drafting, and maybe how to pull together a concept board, but it doesn't teach profit margins, systems, or pricing strategies. So that's even if you went to design school. Like, I didn't go to design school, and I used to think that the business aspect was part of the curriculum until I found out that it wasn't. Because I've met incredibly talented designers, like the kind that just stops you mid-scroll. And you know what? They're still struggling. Meanwhile, like, I've met designers whose work is good. It's good, right? It's not jaw-dropping. It doesn't stop me in the middle of a scroll, but their businesses are thriving. And the difference, as I've talked to hundreds of designers, thousands of designers now, the difference is that the ones who are thriving have built their business beyond their talent. So today, that's what we're doing. We're pulling back the curtain on the other half of success. It's like why your talent alone isn't enough, what really separates successful designers from the ones barely keeping up, and how to build a business that lets you it lets your creativity pay off, okay, instead of burning you out. So here's the thing. Talent, babe, it's your foundation, but it's not your entire structure. Our industry glamorizes creativity. Of course, we're creative minds, right? But the truth is that the design talent without the business structure is like a beautiful home built on sand. I don't say that to be harsh. I say it because I've lived it. When I started out, I thought that my design eye would carry me. What I didn't realize was that talent does not automatically lead to profit. And girl, I learned that the hard way. Without pricing strategy, without clear systems, visibility, and boundaries, even the most stunning portfolio cannot sustain. Raw talent, and maybe you went to design school, but raw talent is really what has prepared us to design beautiful spaces. But there's nobody who prepared us to run profitable businesses. This is the unsexy side. You know, the spreadsheets, the systems, the software, the leadership. It's what takes that creativity and it turns it into currency. So the stuff that I say nobody teaches it, and that's incorrect, because hell, I teach it. There's other business coaches for our industry that teach it, but the invisible side of success is the business skills, and I've narrowed down the business skills that I believe, in my opinion, separate thriving designers from the ones who are just surviving. First of all, it's leadership. Okay. And it's not necessarily just managing people. Okay. It's managing yourself. It's guiding the entire ecosystem around your business. Okay. Your clients look to you for confidence, not just creativity. Your vendors and your contractors, they need direction. Okay. They're not looking for your permission. They need your direction. Leadership means that you stop waiting for others to take the reins and you start owning your role as the CEO of every project. When you lead with clarity and conviction, Your team trusts you. Your clients relax. Your projects move forward smoothly, or at least more smoothly than they would if you weren't leading. You still can you can still hit a couple of speed bumps, okay? But leadership is what transform you from service provider to strategic partner. Can you see the difference there? Service provider versus strategic partner. You're not the hired help. You're an equal. Okay? So I have five. I have five business skills that I believe are very important. One is leadership, two is marketing. Okay? Marketing isn't about chasing trends, okay, or doing those damn dances on reels. Okay, like you do not need to dance on a reel. But what marketing is about, it's about the visibility. It's about being seen. It's about being like seen. And by seen, I mean like not just they scroll and you show up in their feed or you show up on a Google search, but it's about being seen and understood and then remembered. So it's how you connect the dots between your, let's say, your design genius and the people who need it. Marketing has evolved into storytelling, okay, with a strategy behind it. It's not just a good story. But what you're conveying in these marketing skills is here's who I am, here's who I serve, and here's the transformation that I deliver. Because if people don't know that you exist, they can't hire you, right? If they don't know that you exist, they can't hire you. And if they don't understand your value, they won't pay what you're worth. So marketing is a key component in your business skills. Now, sales and marketing oftentimes get lumped together, but they're two different skills. Okay, sales, I don't mean sleazy, manipulative tactics. It's simply the art of guiding someone towards a decision that benefits them. My coach, my business coach, says that it's confidence wrapped in clarity. Okay, so when you know how to lead your discovery call or your meet and greet, your initial visit, okay, when you know how to communicate your processes and you can handle objections without fear, sales stops feeling scary. Okay, it's like sales is one of the greatest blessings that you can give somebody. Because if they truly need your service, you're not convincing them. You're simply coming up beside them and aligning with them. Okay, so a great sales conversation, it feels like collaboration and not pressure. So there's the difference between sales and marketing. The next business skill, babe, it's financial clarity. And I will be the first to say that this is the part that many, myself included, most designers avoid. Okay. I go through my ups and my downs as to when I really geek out about numbers and then times where I just want to hide. But this is the part that changes everything. This goes back to leadership. And what I mean by that is when you feel like hiding, you need to lead yourself, have that self-discipline to step into the discomfort. Okay, and then it gets a lot easier, I promise. But financial clarity means knowing where your money comes from, where it's going, and what those numbers are telling you. Okay, I'm not talking about your bank account balance. Okay, are you actually profitable? Are your margins healthy? Do you know what a margin is? Do you know what your margins are? Are you paying yourself consistently? Because the numbers don't lie. My old boss in the corporate job that I was in prior to launching my business, anytime a decision needed to be made, he would say, the numbers will tell you. And I understood what he meant at the time, kind of in theory, but when I started my own business, yeah, the numbers don't lie. They will tell you what direction you need to go. When you understand them, you gain power. And what I mean by that is like you can make decisions. You have power to make decisions. You have power to plan. You have power to grow. You have power to stop operating from fear. Money stops being emotional when it becomes data. It's just data. Okay. So there's four: leadership, marketing, sales, and financial clarity. Number five, boundaries. Boundaries, the unsung hero of business. Okay, boundaries protect your time, your profit, your peace of mind. Think about this. One of our, I think it was, gosh, a few episodes ago, I was talking about how every quick favor or every extra request, it just chips away at the business that you're trying to build. Okay, it chips away at the business, chips away at your profitability, it chips away at your sanity. Okay, boundaries teach your clients how to treat you. Okay, and it reminds them that you're running a business, not a hobby. So the boundaries, man, oh man, I thought I was good at boundaries, and I have the 7-year-old. Man, she tries to push every boundary that I have. So what it comes down to is just like raising your children, you have to enforce them consistently. Okay? Because not only do you earn respect, but you reclaim your energy. So think about it. Think about it when you were raising a 7-year-old. Okay? And it probably is the same when she's 14. It's just different boundaries that she's pushing. But what it does in your business is it makes your business sustainable so that you can actually enjoy the life you're building. You can actually enjoy the life you're building. So while these skills are not glamorous, I believe that they're the reason why so many designers will stay in business for years while others will quietly close their doors. Okay, so we can't rely on talent alone. So you've got your business skills, but let's talk about what I've seen happen, just kind of observing from the background and then observing from, the coaching perspective, but and also let me just say that observing like my own life, my own journey in the interior design industry. And I can tell you that when I let my foot off the gas with my business practices, some of these next observations, they creep into my life too. Okay? So when you rely on talent and you're not focusing on the business acumen, you live in a feast or famine mode. Okay? You're constantly wondering where the next client will come from. I remember sitting at my desk refreshing my inbox like it's a slot machine. Like, okay, come on, give me an email, give me an email, give me an inquiry. Come on, come on. Okay, so there's just incredible months and then just like seasons of silence. And it's not because you're not talented. It's not because I'm not talented or my team's not talented, but it's because you don't have consistent systems or marketing to keep your leads flowing. Okay, so you're living off of momentum, and that momentum could be referrals. I can't tell you, especially right now in today's market, how many designers are like, oh, Michelle, you told me that I needed to have a marketing system and not live just by referrals. And Michelle, my referrals have dried up and I don't have a marketing system. Okay, you cannot live off of momentum. You have to have the strategy that goes with it. Another observation is the designer who overworks herself trying to prove her worth instead of pricing it. Okay, does that sound like you? You overwork yourself trying to prove your worth. Because what happens is if you're pouring endless hours into deliverables, okay, and then you're tweaking every damn detail to perfection because you think that quote unquote more will make clients value more, babe, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. Clients don't see the extra 20 hours that you spent obsessing over the tile samples. They see the finished selection. They see the finished space. Okay, your worth, your services is not based on how hard you work. It's the transformation that you provide. I'm going to repeat that for those of you in the back. Your worth is not how hard you work. It is in the transformation that you provide. So when you rely on talent, you're living in feast or famine mode. You overwork yourself trying to prove your worth instead of pricing it. Here, speaking of referrals, you depend on referrals instead of building your own visibility. Okay, so that I was talking a little bit about that with the feast or famine mode. Referrals are great until they dry up, okay? If your business only grows when other people are talking about you, you're at the mercy of their momentum, not your own. Like you have zero control because the visibility and the marketing is what puts you back in control. You can't scale something that's built entirely on, hope and goodness, the goodness of somebody to share your name with somebody. So then maybe we are in the midst of business, but then we burn out trying to be both the creative and the operator without any systems. So what are you doing? You're designing, you're sourcing, you're invoicing, you're following up with vendors, you're chasing payments. Somewhere in between, you're trying to stay hydrated, exercise regularly, get enough protein, get some sleep, do self-care, go out on a date with your spouse, make sure your children are being raised properly. Okay? Like, how in the heck do we think we can balance it all? So you have to have systems to back you up. Without systems, you're operating on what? Adrenaline and caffeine? Trying to recreate the wheel with every project? No, babe, that's not sustainable. Okay? One more observation. Okay? Let's go back over these real fast. You live in feast or famine mode. You're overworking yourself trying to prove your worth instead of pricing it. You depend on referrals instead of building your own visibility. You burn out trying to be both the creative and the operator without systems to back you up. Okay? The last observation I see about people who are relying on talent alone, you create beautiful projects, but the numbers never add up. I was working with a client, a well-known designer. You'd probably recognize her name. She's got a book, she's had a TV show, does stunning work. Okay, she creates beautiful projects, but the numbers never add up. You're proud of the work, the photos are stunning. Rock on. I mean, of course you're proud of it. But when you look at your bank account, you're not proud of that because it doesn't reflect the effort that you've poured into it. Okay, there's a disconnect. And that disconnect between the beautiful images, the amazing work, the spaces that feel like just like a warm hug. But when there's a disconnect between the spaces and the bank account, it's a warning sign that talent isn't the problem, the structure is. So when you're relying on talent alone, you're stuck in survival mode. And God, I mean, like I said, when I lose focus at work, I fall into some of these traps. So I'm not saying that once you address it, it goes away forever, but you are constantly putting systems in place so that if you do let your foot off the gas a little bit, you're not just gonna peter out, okay, or you're not gonna crash. But the business skills, the boring, the unsexy kind, this is what turns your creativity into consistency and profit.
You're an interior designer, not a marketer, but somehow you're stuck spending hours on SEO, social media, and email campaigns instead of doing what you love, designing beautiful spaces. Marketing shouldn't take over your business. That's why Sidemark was built by designers for designers. We offer done-for-you marketing services like SEO, paid ads, email, and even social media management so you don't have to lift a finger. Not quite ready to let someone run it all for you? We also have done with you software subscriptions that include all of the tools you need, along with live coaching, courses, and 24/7 live support to help you market smarter with a clear plan. Imagine getting back to doing more of why you started your business in the first place. Solve the marketing overwhelm and visit www.mysidemark.com today. That's www.mysidemark.com.
So, like, there are so many designers that get stuck here. Brilliant creatives who think that more talent or more time and effort will solve the problem, when in reality, it's structure. It's the structure that will solve the problem. And creative minds, I mean, that's why this podcast is called Design for the Creative Mind, because I want to talk about business that's designed for the creative mind because it's not a natural progression of a creative's mind. Okay, so one of my students in the bakery, we'll call her Jenna to protect the innocent. I don't have her permission to say her name or share her story per se, but I'm going to give you the gist of it. She came in and she's one of those designers. You see her images on the gram and you're just like, wow. You save it on your list for inspiration. Okay. So she's just overflowing with creativity. Her design work is stunning. Okay. Her clients adored her, like adored her, but her business was chaos. She told me when we were talking, Michelle, I had this great client. It was this house on the beach. Client pulled me aside and said, all the work you did is beautiful. I'm really happy with the outcome. Okay. But it didn't feel like there was a process. Okay. So her projects were running over schedule. She was working weekends and nights. She was scared to raise her fees. So her profit margins were razor thin, razor thin. She was not selling furniture with profit in mind. So what she would do instead is that she would try to get more clients so she could work harder. Okay. Or be a better designer. Now, that drive, being a better designer so that she could get published and so she could win awards, absolutely, that drove her to some beautiful creativity. But the truth of the matter is, she didn't need more talent, she just needed some structure. So inside the bakery, Jenna learned how to set clear pricing, systemize the entire client process from the moment you get that first inquiry, whether it be a telephone call or whether it be a website submittal, okay, all the way through to the punch list. So when you can systemize your client process and then you can communicate with confidence, this is how I work, this is why it benefits you, and then you're navigating the process because every project is different, but the process should be the same. Okay. Within 6 months, it wasn't right away. Okay. I'd be lying to you if I said the next month, Jenna, blah, blah, blah. But she went ahead and put the processes in place. She got two new clients and doubled her income. And but by doubled her income, what I mean by that is that what she said is with these two new clients, instead of the five that I would have needed for this total, that's what I mean by doubled her income. So she had two new clients instead of five for the income and the profit to behind it. So she finally saw what I want every designer to see is that your creativity gets more powerful when it's supported by business systems. She told me, gosh, a year or so ago, she said, Michelle, I really thought that the structure was going to kill my creativity, but it actually protected it. So let's celebrate that and break down let's just talk about the tools. Okay. It's going to kind of recap what we were talking about before. Here's the systems that you need. Here's what happens when you rely on talent, but let's talk about the real tools. Pricing. You have to have your pricing tight, okay? So that you can price with confidence. Because this is where everything starts. Knowing your numbers and standing behind your fees, you don't need to justify them because you're not pulling numbers out of thin air. It's about understanding the value that you deliver, the experience that you provide, and the transformation that occurs. Okay? And then you charge accordingly. Okay? Because when you believe in your worth, your clients will too. Okay? When you don't, there's this weird energy and clients can sense it instantly. Instantly. Okay? Because confident pricing, it's not arrogant. It's clarity. And the more structure you get, the more processes that you implement, the more confidence you're going to have and the more clarity you'll be able to provide to your client about the pricing. It's which came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, but I promise it works. So pricing with confidence is huge. It's key. Okay. Now, marketing. Okay, it's not about being loud. It's about being clear. It's not shouting into the void or trying to please everyone. You need to know who your ideal client is and talk to them in your messaging, in your copy. Okay? It's showing up with purpose and consistency and telling your story in a way that connects with the right people. If you are marketing to everybody, then you're marketing to nobody. Okay? The goal isn't to go viral. The goal is not to have 50,000 followers. but it's to be visible, credible, and memorable to your ideal clients. And I said this earlier when in the podcast, in the episode, is that people can't hire you if they don't know that you exist. So for those of you who are like, I don't want to do market, I don't want to do social media, I don't, la, 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 la. Babe, people can't hire you if they don't know you exist. So get your booty out there, figure out who your ideal client is, figure out your messaging to them, and then do it. What else? Systemizing operations. If you've been around my world for any length of time, you've probably heard the story of how I came out of corporate, thought I was a badass, and then I fell on my ass. Why? Because I wasn't running my business like a business. Systems, processes, standard operating procedures, they're not cold, they're not corporate. It's really creative freedom disguised as structure. Because every time that you create a repeatable process, you basically earn back brain space for design. I think that's the best way I can put it. Because systems will streamline the client experience, reduces mistakes, it keeps your team aligned. It's basically behind the scene design boards for how your business runs. You put together a living room with more intention than you put together your business, I would bet. Okay, so the smoother your business systems are, the better the experience feels to your clients. Okay, so tools that you need: pricing with confidence, marketing with intention, and systemizing your operations. Now, you also need financial visibility because you can't grow what you don't track. Most designers have a rough idea of their revenue, but not of their profit. And that, I can tell you from experience, is where everything starts to wobble. The designers who thrive know their numbers, what's coming in and what's going out, what each project actually earns them. The goal isn't to obsess over spreadsheets, it's to use your data as your GPS. Okay? Just like my old boss, David, used to say, the numbers don't lie. They'll tell you where to go. They'll tell you where to focus on next. And finally, baby, you got to put on you got to put on your CEO hat. Okay? It's a mindset. And it's not about mantras, it's not about vision boards. It's about discipline. It's setting priorities and making decisions and acting like the leader that your business needs. Okay. So when you put on your CEO hat, when you have that CEO mindset, it means that you stop reacting and you start directing. You stop being the thermometer and you start being the thermostat. What does that mean? It means you set the temperature of the room. You set the temperature, you don't react to the temperature. Okay. You look at the big picture, not just the day to day. You're not running around with your hair on fire. You ask yourself, what will move the needle instead of what's on fire today? Man, y'all, these are unsexy behind the scenes habits that make the difference between running a business and being run by one. And I know it's kind of heavy. That wasn't a lot of fun to record. Okay. And it might not look creative on paper, but really these habits, these practices that are beyond your talent are the reasons that will let you continue being creative for the long run. Because what I've seen and what I've experienced is that when you step beyond that talent, you get this whole paradigm shift, like your whole, and I'm not exaggerating when I say your whole world changes. You're not waiting for the perfect idea to strike anymore. You're creating conditions for success. You're going to stop second guessing your decisions because you have a framework to guide them. Strategy is much more interesting than stress. You're not trying to prove your worth because you know inherently, and clients feel that energy immediately. Imagine when you walk in the room with that confidence, babe, they're going to stop questioning your fees, your process, and your recommendations because your certainty builds their certainty. Clarity creates certainty. Confidence sells more powerfully than any portfolio ever could. So if you're stuck thinking, I'm just getting started, I don't have much of a portfolio, la, 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 you know what? Let me just tell you, grab some confidence until you get that portfolio built, and you will have better projects to put in that portfolio. Part of that confidence is going to come from looking at your books and knowing what's working, okay, and what's not. And where do you focus next? What sort of projects do you need? Do you need renovation so that you can create like this complete transformation? But if you renovate, are you going to get the decorate part of the job where you can sell them furniture and make a margin there? Okay. What happens is when you know what's working and what's not, you know where to focus next, you will stop making emotional decisions and start making data informed ones. Think about it. You stop making emotional decisions and you start making data informed ones. And I'll tell you that when you know that you're steering a profitable ship, oh man, sleep is so much sweeter, so much sweeter. And I've said this before is that when you deliver an experience to a client because your projects are running smoother because your processes run the show, when your experience is more sophisticated, you become more sophisticated, your clients become more sophisticated, and that sophistication translates into revenue. Not always profit. That's by knowing your numbers, having processes, and so forth. Okay. But you're not reinventing the wheel every time. Your processes are running the show. You're not running around putting out fires. Now, granted, fires still happen, okay? But it's not like a wildfire in the wilderness. Might just be a little flare up here and there, okay? Or you're not scrambling to fix preventable mistakes, okay? Your systems are carrying the load so that you can stay in your zone of genius. Does that make sense? Like if you want to design more, then you need to have more processes in your business. Okay. And you get to enjoy the creative parts instead of stressing out about the fires that you're trying to put out. So what happens is you stop living in a reactive mode. You stop living in a reactive mode. And by that, what I mean is like your calendar and your energy, your income, okay, they all align. You have white space. Like, you know how you need white space in your designs? You don't need to like put something everywhere on the wall. You have space to breathe. You can be present with your family. Like, you can put your phone down when you walk in the door and have dinner with your family instead of on the phone wondering what's going wrong next. Okay. You can create designs without pressure. And I mean, that's what success really feels like. If you're wondering, what does it feel like? What is it? It's having money in the bank and time to spend with your family, delightful, happy clients, and you're creating beautiful spaces. Okay, so you did not start this business just to design beautiful spaces. You started it to design a beautiful life. And somewhere we get sucked in to the business and our life gets put on the back burner. So all of this takes more than talent. It takes business, it takes boundaries, and it takes belief in yourself as a leader. Because when you master the business of design, y'all, you don't lose your creativity. You actually get to live from it, like from it. So, whew, that was a lot. Well, here's what I want you to take away. Okay. Here's what I want you to take away. Talent is your foundation. It's the spark, it's the passion, it's the joy, it's the raw talent that started this whole thing. It's the reason that clients come to you in the first place, but it can only take you so far before you hit a ceiling. Okay, it's what gets the attention, it's not what sustains success. So, business is your amplifier. Okay, this business is the structure that lets your creativity actually thrive. It's what turns ideas into income. Okay, ideas into income, projects into profit, and chaos into clarity. This is how you protect your passion instead of burning out from it. So, the combination, when you have the creativity and the strategy working together, you can get off the roller coaster and you're not just surviving. Because real freedom isn't about working less, it's about working smarter. So, you don't just want to design spaces, you want to design the business that supports the life that you want. So, you kind of need to start backwards. Okay, I didn't do this until really late in my business, but you need to design a business that supports the life that you want. So you've already proven that you're talented enough to make things beautiful. Now make them sustainable. All right. So we've talked about boundaries and profit leaks and influence and decision making and everything in between in this the last, I think, 10 episode season. Okay, the rules of running a design business that no one will say out loud. But these are the pieces that actually make a design business work. Because here's the truth. There's no magic formula. There's no viral reel. There's no secret client pipeline or a secret handshake. Okay. There's just business done intentionally, consistently, and confidently. And that, my friend, is exactly what I teach inside the Interior Design Business Bakery. The bakery exists because design school doesn't teach you how to price, process, or profit. Okay. And that, like I said, if you even go to design school. I didn't go to design school. Okay. But the Interior Design Business Bakery is exactly what I wish I would have had as I was launching my business. Okay. It's exactly what I wish I would have had 5 years in when I didn't have processes. Okay. The Interior Design Business Bakery is where you get the exact systems, tools, support you need to turn your creativity into a thriving business. And in fact, y'all, we just introduced a software that supports your business, your bookkeeping, the 16 steps of sanity that I teach in the Interior Design Business Bakery, and the sub steps and the sub steps. So I'm here to support you in your business and take that wickedly beautiful talent that you have and turn it into the life that you desire. So if this season on the podcast resonated with you, if you've had those moments of, oh my God, she's in my head, or nobody's ever said that out loud before, like, the bakery is your next step. Because the real secret to success isn't more talent. It isn't more hours. It isn't more deliverables. It's structure. Structure. So, y'all, that wraps 10 episodes this season for Design for the Creative Mind. Season 6, technically. We've covered the rules that no one will say out loud, the ones that protect your profit, your energy, and your future. So I'm Michelle Lynn, and I'll see you next season with even more of the unfiltered truths that help you turn creativity into currency. And if you would, I'm going to kindly ask you to please drop a review of this podcast wherever you listen to it and share it with a friend. I'll catch you on the next episode, babe. Hey, y'all. If you love the show and find it useful, I would really appreciate it if you would share with your friends and followers. And if you like what you're hearing, want to put a face with a name, and get even more business advice, then join me in my Facebook group, the Interior Designers Business Launchpad. Yeah, I know, it's Facebook. But just come on in for the training and then leave without scrolling your feed. It's fun, I promise you'll enjoy it. And finally, I hear it's good for business to get ratings on your podcasts. So please drop yours on whatever platform you use to listen to this. We're all about community over competition. So let's work on elevating our industry one designer at a time. See you next time.